And we're back with some more oxygen not included. And today it's going to be, well, I want to try finish off most of the science today, and we want to get our hands on radiation rockets. These rockets down here, Radbolt propulsion, with that, space opens wide open for us, and then we can get high velocity destruction after that. Well, that's going to require us to generate an awful lot more science points in this machine. Well, this orbital data collection. Now, we learned last time that it takes a mechatronics engineer to do this right, so we're going to skill up a new duplicant for this. Heavy metal pie has been scrubbed, and all we need to do is give them 1 in piloting, and then we can send them straight down here into mechatronics engineering. Now they've got a mechatronics skill of 23, which should make production much, much faster. We're not even going to bother training them for exosuit. They don't need that at all. But that means we can now have the crew on board, and once they're on board, we can launch them into space so that they can start churning out those data cubes. One thing we need to do when we put new crew members on board is we need to always change it so that they eat berry sludge and basic rad pills. I kind of want to switch everyone over to just berry sludge, like just run on nothing but pure berry sludge to ease that off. The rad pills will still have to change, but it would make things slightly less confusing. But now that that's done, let's get you launched. I made a second launch pad, or another launch pad over here, because this one is not going to require much changing. All we need to do is, well, launch into space. Review the launch checklist. Why are you... Launch checklist is incomplete. Destination wasn't set. No problems at all. Begin the launch sequence. But, no, okay, use the bathroom first. Then begin the launch sequence. It'll launch once, they come back... Once they're finished lunch and break and such things. Now, while that's going on, let's have a quick look back at Iki Ani. Now, over here, you'll notice something. People were worried that these plug slugs were going to eat all the metals we left lying around the place. But that's okay. We didn't leave any metals lying around the place. We took all of the metals and put them on board the ship. Right now, we're just doing one last little trip here. What we're trying to do is... Oh, put you up to there. We're trying to go over here and have a look and see what all of these volcanoes are. Or, well, vents are. There's an iron volcano over there, which we're going to probably want to come back for. Oh, I forgot this one as well. There's also a few other volcanoes around the place, and just a quick check to see what they are will let us know if when we do come back later on in the game what we're going to be in store. After a whole bunch of digging, we've discovered a terrible hot polluted oxygen vent, a useless carbon dioxide vent. Then we've got a gold volcano over there, which, yes, we like that one. Also another gold volcano over there. Then we've got a cobalt volcano over there. Then we've got a copper volcano over there. I may have accidentally activated that, so we've sealed it in with an insulated tile. Then we've got an iron volcano over there. When we come back, we are definitely going to have to bring a bunch of plastic and steel and just make a whole bunch of steam turbines to cool all of that down. So launching it back home might be a bit tricky. Normally to launch stuff back home you need a lot of radiation, and generating that's going to be, well, interesting. Anyway, everyone back on board. It's time to head back home with our bounty. And by bounty, I mean... Oh, wow. Let's just check here. We have 5.2 tons of aluminum, 139 tons of cobalt, 400 kilos of copper, 27 tons of gold amalgam, and a couple of tons of iron. Yes, we have been having a wonderful, wonderful time. All right, everyone back home. While our rockets are doing their thing and on their way back and forth and such like, we are going to set up some extra bristle blossoms. I mean, why not? Now, we're using the lights here, these lamps, because they actually can get 4 tiles either side, and we're going to make these things 3 tiles tall. The reason being, I'm beginning to realize the cramped space that we've got here to work with. We don't actually have a lot of space, and considering we stuck in a nuclear reactor down here, a giant, like all of the stuff we're setting up is kind of leaving us with not a lot of space to work with, especially with all the ranches we've got up and running. So we need to start being just a little bit more careful. And, oh, that crowd has made it back home. You know what that means. Let's tell them not to leave for a minute. Let's just, yep, none of you are allowed to get out until the steam starts to dissipate. No. Crew, stay on board. See, if they try and run out straight away, the first thing they do is they scald themselves in the boiling hot clouds of steam. That is just so annoying. But it's fine, it's fine. Soon we'll be done with steam rockets and we'll be moving on to, where is it? Yep. Perfect. Now let's make this grounded. Actually, wait, no. Let's make sure everyone sweeps this place. We want this place swept and all of the resources removed. Ah, beautiful. Also, the oxide should get topped up. Ooh, what are we going to set this to? Don't really want this. Actually, we'll get rid of the algae. We don't want algae in here anymore. We can rip out the oxygen diffuser. In fact, this whole thing is going to get retrofitted. I think we're going to go with the good old-fashioned Atmosuit docked version of this, where we can send 3 people and use this as the living quarters for them. It'll require us to rip the whole thing apart. Actually, how did I think about it? If we are going to rip the whole thing apart, Might as well just deconstruct it. If we deconstruct it, we open these doors here. It'll mean everyone's closer to getting where they want to go. In fact, we can go... Yeah, let's swap this module for something else. Say, oh, battery module, build, and then we cancel that. There we go. Everything dropped out. Now we just got to make sure they pick up that oxalate and put it downstairs as quickly as possible. That's the only thing I'm concerned about. Another thing we're going to do is grab the slime. I brought back about 2 tons of this stuff so that we can grow mushrooms. Yeah, grab all... Hey, what are you doing with databanks? No, grab that... Fine. But grab the slime. The slime is at a level 6 priority, so you should hopefully get around to that pretty soon. In fact, let's make that a very important priority. We don't want that evaporating into the background of space. That slime ends up right down here, close to where we're trying to grow the dust cap mushrooms. At the same time... Oh, there you go. They're dropping it off now. At the same time, I put a little gas vent right beside it to make sure that this place is pressurized. Otherwise, if it's not pressurized, that slime starts off-gassing polluted oxygen, which it's not doing at the moment. That carbon dioxide. Stay away, carbon dioxide. Stop doing that. Actually, which reminds me, we can deconstruct those now. I put in those tiles to stop liquids flowing either side of that. I was demolishing a pipe around there. All right, done, done, and done. All we got to do now is sweep all of this stuff up. And then once that's all swept up, we can start building our next rocket. Before we build our next rocket, it's time to make some minor changes. That would be we are going to swap this module for a Radbolt engine. Yes. In fact, it only takes 500 steel to build that. How much does it know? Like the ones we've been building take, I want to say a couple of tons or something stupid. Dear Lord, look at that. 2 tons for a steam engine, only 500 kilos for a Radbolt engine. That makes no sense to me. Never mind. No, that means we can also change this one. Oh, yeah, that's a whole bunch of steam. So let's swap this module as well right now. We have more than enough rads coming in to fuel both of those engines when the time comes. That's really going to heat up the rocket launch pads. You know what? Who cares? Who cares? This gives us the opportunity to do some building. All right, on top of here, we're going to stick on the Spacefarer module. Done. And then we're going to stick on a Spacefarer module on top of this one as well. Copper. Today, cobalt. And we are going to swap you out for another cobalt engine. Reason being, we have over 100 tons of cobalt. I'm going to use that for most of our build projects. There's the odd niche use for gold, copper, things like that, just as for decor reasons. And since we have so much cobalt, that's what we're going to stick with. In fact, we have cobalt, refined cobalt being churned out over there, hopefully at a reasonable pace. All right, let's start doing these. These are both going to be, well, duplicates of each other. If we go in here... Oh, wow, that was quick. First thing we do, remove the rocket control module, put in a storage bin, and fill it full of... Where is it? Oxalate. In fact, we're going to make that 4 tons. Now, this storage bin won't be staying here. We'll end up moving it as things get built, but at least it will give some oxygen for our early construction. After a long, hard look online at some of the Immigrant posts about this and the Reddit posts about how to design good rockets, I eventually just designed my own. You know what it's like. It's more fun to do these things yourself. Even if they're not perfect, you know, you kind of get a little bit more thrill out of making your own ones. It's kind of half the joy of the game. But we'll just put in the basics of the flooring. And you know, there's not even ladder segments. Also, we're going to use regular beds like savages. That's what it's going to look like with all of the stuff installed. Well, sort of. We're going to have a giant gas pump in here to provide enough oxygen to all of these atmosuit docks. We're going to have this as just a live-in capsule where everyone can, you know, do their thing from inside it. And we should be able to get 6 morale out of this, but not in the normal way. And that is what it's going to look like at the end of the day. We have 3 atmosuit docks built in here. We haven't put in the checkpoint yet, and it used to be that there was a bug where if you put the checkpoint here, the duplicants wouldn't put on the suit before they left, but that has since been fixed, it appears. As well as that, we have a refrigerator here full of basic rad pills. So 100 rad pills in there, and over here we got 40 kilos of berry sludge, though I would prefer about 200 calories, but we're kind of short on berry sludge. But the theory is this. We can stick 3 duplicants in here. They have bathroom facilities. They have dining room facilities. In fact, they get 3 morale from the mess hall, 1 morale from the barracks, 2 morale from the bathroom. And we've actually disabled the hand sanitizer. We don't even care. The radiation will do all the cleaning. That'll give us plus 6 morale. That should be enough to hopefully keep everyone going. You will notice we're missing the rocket control unit, but that'll go there. After we stockpile up some stuff, I'm thinking we put in a little bit of refined metal and maybe some glass to give us some stuff to build on the other side. On the outside of the rocket, we look like this. We have battery module and 3 solar panels. We might actually just deconstruct the solar panels on the other end and tack them on across the sides just to provide power For example, if you notice here, we're actually feeding this off our main base power grid. Why not? Gives us the allows us to run these while they're on the ground. And we also made a second one. So this one here is also, well, going to get filled up with atmosuits and oxygen. The oxygen system is actually pretty straightforward. Any oxygen or carbon dioxide that ends up down there gets sucked up. Sent up here, we filter out the carbon dioxide and it gets dumped out of the ship. Turns out, yeah, this is just the output thing that goes into the vacuum of space. But it only works when you're in space. When you're on the ground, it won't go out. So we've actually hooked that up to a gas vent here to actually drain the gases out of them when they're on the ground. Just a small change. Oh, and we still have to actually load up those rockets with radiation, but that can wait. We got to wait until all of those atmosuits fill up, so we got a bit of time. And I'm thinking power grid's got to change. I say now that we've got all the cobalt that we have been refining like crazy over in our industrial brick, we finish off the power grid over this side. This might take a minute. And I've been holding off on doing this power grid management for a while because it's going to be annoyingly complicated. For one thing, we're going to hook that up there. Now we've got two sources of power going into that grid. However, then what we can do is we can split it off right there. Someone will get around to that. And then what we're going to do is plug it in again, actually, over here. I think that's actually the same power grid. Yeah, that is the same power grid. And then we'll deconstruct... Ooh, you know what? We'll make it right there. That can get deconstructed. What I want to do is have the entire bottom half of the base powered by this one line. And then that's sort of how we're going to do it the whole way along. And down there as well. In fact, we'll get rid of that wire bridge, I'm thinking. Yeah, that can go. And once that wire bridge is deconstructed... Hey, guys, did I actually deconstruct the wire bridge or a wire? You know what? Never mind. It'll be done in 1 second. So once that wire bridge is gone... Actually, we'll get rid of that wire bridge as well. What's going on today? There you go. And with those two deconstructed... That disconnects that. We will just connect those two like that. Done. So now everything along the bottom of the base is now powered by that one line, including these atmosphere docks down here. Excellent. Simple, efficient. Oh, that reminds me we're going to have to hook up those as well. There you go. Perfect. And we can even get ourselves some of that metal back by getting rid of the duplicates. Much cleaner and neater. I'll even do a little bit of tidying up down there. I've been meaning to get around to something like this for a while. Alright, with that done, let me just hook that up there. And I think this can take care of all of the cooking and stuff along there. And we'll even actually... Yeah, you know what? We can disconnect that right there. And we'll disconnect that right there. Then we can hook that up and get the... Ooh, yeah, all of those connected up. That should get this entire layer just working on this one conductive wire. Well, that was pretty handy. Now everything across there, all powered on one wire. Then we just need to deconstruct that there. And we can take this line across here and cut everything else onto its own little grid as well. Would you look at that? All of that powers the lights for the dining area, then the incubators, the medicine, and anything to do with the water filtration and toilets. Perfect. That just leaves the top rows. In fact, what are you even powering? Oh, okay, I think we need one or two more. Oh, also I've got another line up here going to take care of the material study terminal. I really should start pumping down radiation from up here. Those Radbolt generators could severely speed up research times. This down here is 1,527 rads, or 150 rads per minute. We actually put in the phosphorite here that we were making from the Drecos. The Dreco phosphorite's been shipped in here so that we can keep all those Weezeworts running, which is why it's doing pretty good. Over up here, what are we pushing? We're pushing 6,400 rads and 6,407 rads. Yeah, so a little bit more rads up there that we could call upon to keep these running flat out. And research-wise, we're now on to high-velocity destruction, which, oh wow, we need a lot of applied science, or that, whatever. We need a lot of the radioactive science to knock that out, but shouldn't be a problem once we finish off this power grid. There we go. Took a lot of rewiring, but that large power transformer over there is supporting most of the stuff over this side. We sort of just had, well, the idea was one power transformer roughly per level. We maybe put a few on that level because it was nice and empty, but by and large, everything is supported by whatever's on the left of it, except for the stuff that is connected directly to the power spine. And this power spine now comes up here and folds across onto over here, so it's connected up to all these hydrogen generators. But that does mean we no longer need this system. In fact, this system's actually backed up a bit. What's happened was we switched over to this electrolyzer system and we've been running with 20 duplicates. This is required. Also, we've been making a bunch of oxylites, so we've been effectively running at 30 duplicates worth of oxygen consumption, which has been generating a lot of hydrogen. And that hydrogen has literally backed up into the system. These things have been running flat out for Oh, for as long as I'm aware. This thing's at 150 kilos, and this thing's backed up, as in our electrolyzer system up here can't actually pump the hydrogen out of there fast enough. It's way overpressurized. Some of it's probably escaping off into space. That, oops. Well, in that case, we can power that whole system off. That can go. Actually, ooh, you know what? Let's just disconnect one wire for now. I mean, maybe we're going to need to use this again if something goes horrifically wrong with our nuclear reactor. I'm not saying it is, but better safe than sorry. And then we can just use this to provide power. And at the same time, we will disable that. There's no need to be wasting copper overclocking those generators or giving them NG's tune-ups. The next thing I want to do is I want to switch our Drecos away from this rather wasteful mealwood. Mealwood's good and all that, but we're going to switch over to using glossy Drecos now that we've, well, scaled up. Oh, God, yeah, that's a terrible... I did not mean that, I swear. But that means that when they're born, they'll have a good chance of producing a balance of glossy and directed eggs, and then we can just feed them on bristle blossoms, and it won't change their egg-laying chances. Now, the problem is they grow slower, so we're going to have to plant more of them. That means this place is now overcrowded because we've maybe overcrowded them a little bit, but that is fine. We can... Oh, where is it? We need to find the insulated liquid pipe that has 10 kilos of water in it. What I've done here is I've pulled down a little blob of water. We're going to leave it right there. That blob of water is now going to flood the area. I just realized, so let's make sure we can mop that up first. Once we deconstruct that liquid pipe, the 10 kilos of water will fall out the other side and leave us a nice blob there. Then we can add the rest of this back in. Hey, guys, anyone want to get around to this? Come on, I know you're busy tidying up the mess after all of the deconstructions we did. Oh, that reminds me. Yeah, there's little blobs of metal left around the place from all of the resources we moved. And, oh my god, have I been leaving aluminum just lying there on the ground? Yep, and they've probably been eating it, haven't they? Yep, they have. Oh my god. Oops. It's fine. It's fine. Doesn't make a difference. We lost a little bit of aluminum, not the end of the world. After moving a few things around, where is it? We've got light going down here, and we've got some bristle blossoms growing. We've also switched over our little incubators here to glossy Draco eggs. That way we should start replacing all of those, or what do you call them, regular Dracos. It just, the longer this goes on, the more likely we are to end up with more and more glossy Dracos in here because of the way they eat the mealwood. Now, what was the next thing? Yes, water. I do need to do something about that because this is too cold, and this water we're no longer using. I'm saying we take all of this water and all of this water and combine them into its own tank to make ourselves a clean water tank. That would be horribly messy, but I'd like to sort of drain all of this out. What's this at? This is next dormancy 55 cycles. Okay, we've no chance there. You are next dormancy 61 cycles, 17 cycles, and you are probably... Oh, next activity 58, so you're actually dormant. This is going to take a while. What I want to do is sort of merge the salt water and the polluted water all into one tank, and the heat differential should hopefully give us, like, reasonable water. My other choice was to put it in a liquid tepidizer, but I thought, that probably would be faster, but a little bit of a waste of power. Not that we really care, to be honest. But down here, we're going to make ourselves a quick liquid tank and give it a shot. This way we can get it done while we're off flying around sorting out the next planet. The whole system's going to be pretty simple. The salt water is going to come down here to a desalinator and get desalinated and then dumped into this liquid pool. Of course, it's going to be about 85 degrees, or 85 to 95 degrees. Then we're going to have the polluted water sieved, and then the excess of it is going to also get dumped into this liquid tank. And then that should give us clean water of hopefully a reasonable temperature. Well, that's the theory. Then what I can do is, assuming it's still a bit too hot, which it probably will be, the excess polluted water we can sieve through here and send up to our reed fiber, which we'll probably have to extend that reed fiber farm a bit more. It doesn't seem to be eating all of our excess polluted water just yet. And hey, we can do it more reed fiber. To maybe help speed up the temperature transfer, we're going to put down some aluminum tiles here, and we're going to pump the water through them. That should... Ooh, what was that? That was a big blob of clean water. Never mind. Yeah, that should be fine. That'll spread out the heat between the two, or degrade the heat from one and dump it into the other. I'm not really too worried. I do have to find a way, though, to stop that oil from getting in there. Can we actually... Yes, we can. Alright, there'll be a few minor scaldings, but a few minor scaldings never hurt any of us. A little bit of scalding, just a teensy tad. Then we'll just make sure everyone can leave, but not come back in. Guys, just get out. Come on. Now, while our people are recovering from their little adventure, what we can check here is this metal tile is doing a good job, and it's slowly starting to heat up this liquid tank. We've even stuck in a little rotational liquid loop to just sort of spread out the temperature. I just don't want my thimble reeds getting stifled the whole time. Anyway, with all of that finished, one last thing to do before we head out to space again. I want to sort out material study terminals. I want to really crank up the research on that. At the moment, yeah, we're still really too far behind on that. I say we take advantage of all the rads we've got up here. We've plugged it into our shiny new electrical grid. It's good to go. I just got to figure out some way of getting the rads in here without risking the lives of our duplicants. All right, I think it's set up to my preference. We've got 100 Radbolts coming in here. That should... Ooh, that actually is going up quite quickly. What should happen is that'll get shot down here, deflected across here, pipe down here, hit that, then get sent straight to the right, and then in here, and then pop out at this angle and come straight down through these two and land up down here. That should keep it away from our duplicates, and pretty handy. In fact, we'll turn on the second one there. And they should just keep going forever. Oh, great, they're doing that one first. Doesn't matter, Zap is probably one of the better science dupes I've ever had. At 29 science, I think they'll do just fine. They should hopefully be able to keep up with this. Now, you gonna fire? You're at 97, 98, 99. Oh yeah, boom, boom, boom. And totally worked. That is now completely full, and the excess got sent down to this one. I like it. Now, this next Radbolt, yeah, that one's gonna overfill it. So I want to see what happens to it. It should... Yeah, it goes down there and hits the corner, and it's now off down here in Radiation Central that we don't care about. Probably going to drop off some radioactive contaminants as well, but hey, who cares? Problem solved. It also shuts off that, which, well, not actually necessary. But I think this should be able to provide more than enough Radbolts to keep our researcher busy forever and ever and ever. Alright. Time to load up and get out of here. We have... Okay, we do have to put in some resources in here. I'm thinking some cobalt to help us out on the planet we go to. We're heading over to Blumall. We need to get our hands on lead so we can make some lead suits to deal with radiation. And we also need to get our hands on a bunch of diamond and the iron ore to make even more steel. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be... whatchamacallit, one of those items we have to clean off in there. Which reminds me, where was those items we cleaned off? Yes. We have the sink and the honey jar, which, if we check here, it actually tells us what they've done. An artifact from a past civilization that was analysed. Sink. A small trace of encrusted soap on the sink strongly suggests it was installed in a personal bathroom rather than a public one, which would have used a soap dispenser. The soap silver is light blue and contains a manufacturer's blueberry fragrance. Okay, so yeah, they're real scientists around here. An artifact from a past civilization was analysed. Honey jar. Records from the genetics and biology lab of the Gravitas facility showed that several early iterations of radioactive bee would continue to produce honey, and that this honey was once accidentally stored in the employee kitchen, which resulted in several incidents of minor radiation poisoning when it was erroneously labelled as sweetener for tea. Employees who used this product reported this was the sweetest honey they'd ever tasted and expressed no regret at the mix-up of eating radioactive honey. Just perfect. Well, the next problem I completely forgot about was fueling the rockets. I thought this would be a much faster process. So I switched the Radbolt generators to pointing up, and now they're going to fire their Radbolts across here and fuel up the engines. Assuming I don't accidentally clip a dupe with that. Though, yeah, we're switching it to 500 Radbolts. However, this is going to take a while. I just thought we had so much radiation they'd fill a lot faster, but no. So instead, we're going to beef up production a little bit. That's made of obsidian, yeah, and that can also be made of obsidian. These are going to overheat after a while, but that's okay. We just need them to speed up the refueling. Now, the longer the nuclear reactor keeps running, the more radioactive waste we get, which is not showing up just yet, but there will be more radioactive waste. And our cooling loop is... Yeah, it seems to be chugging a bit. That's fine. Whatever. I'll worry about it later. For now, we'll stick down a couple of extra Radbolt generators, and we'll use them to fuel up these rockets as quick as possible. We managed to refuel this. It took a while. Well, fill it. Though I do like that with 4,000 Radbolts in it. This thing has a range of 20 tiles. That's incredible. I think our steam engines have a range of about 9 or 10. So this thing is going to be doing most of our exploration for us, or these types of engines. Though this does make me realise why hydrogen is going to be so useful. This is just too slow to refuel this way. Hydrogen would allow us to refuel the moment they land and pop them back off again. These things are going to be awkward. Anyway, we have 3 duplicants selected to go. It's going to be Brendan O'Toole, Millington, and McCuskey. But before we get started, I should probably point out how we're doing this. We've stuck in 3 Atmo suits. Well, we loaded up 3 Atmo suits into the storage bin, then dropped them on the ground. Then we loaded up 5 tons of cobalt and 20 kilos of reed fiber, or 20 pieces of reed fiber. Now we're going to deconstruct those. Then we're going to put in the rocket station right there. Now, once we put in the rocket station, that means we can finally launch, and we should be carrying enough with us to be able to do, you know, something reasonable. What's that, cobalt ore? Yeah, that's fine. Then once we're in midair, we'll put in the exit dock. We don't need the exit dock just now. And of course, you've got the usual water for the toilets right there. And then we've got this gas filtration system that filters out all the carbon dioxide, and we'll dump it into space or dump it out on the ground when we land. Either way, we'll find some way around that. But this means we should have everyone be able to live in here, work in here, do everything they need from this capsule instead of using any of the land-based stuff. Instead of having to set up, say, an electrolyzer when we get to a planet and build atmosuit docks and all that, no, we bring everything with us. And we build a repair station when we get there, so if any of our suits get worn out, we simply just, you know, repair them. Plus, we've brought 3 extra suits with us, just in case. Everyone's on board. Let's fire this sucker into space. I'm kind of curious to see how well they fly, or if they've made any changes to the animation. Come on. Off you go. Perfect. Oh, I should probably point out, these solar panels don't work so good anymore. Work as good as they used to. Bye-bye, off you go. Let's check the star map to see how long that's going to take for you. 1.5 cycles to get there. It is pretty slow. I will give it that. They're not exactly the fastest. It's now time to launch our second team. Their Radbolt engine is fueled up, and this time I made it a little bit clearer. Over here you'll see we have 100 rad pills. This is the most amount of rad pills you can fit into a fridge, and I figure this is a good even point. This means we have enough rad pills here to support these dupes for 33 cycles in space. They can keep taking a rad pill every day, and they should be able to stay below the radiation poisoning threshold. Just a nice meter stick. But that means we have enough food here in terms of berry sludge. We've got 200,000 calories of berry sludge, which will keep them going for 33 cycles. We also have 6 tons of oxalite, which will keep them going for 33 cycles. So this entire self-contained capsule comes with all of the necessary stuff to keep them supplied and fed and oxygenated all the way for 33 cycles. And it has a cycle range of 20, meaning it can go 20, well, a range on the star map of 20 tiles, meaning you can go out 20 tiles and come back. So this is going to be what we use to do most of our going to planets, grabbing what we need, and then buggering off again. Alright, we'll launch those to catch up with the other crowd. The Radbolt engine still a little bit radioactive. Yeah, tiny bit. I wonder if it still has that problem where it actually just keeps giving off loads and loads of radiation when it lands. And that's a lot of fallout. That'll be fine. There's so much radiation on this planet anyway, it doesn't make a difference. We deleted the 2 free-floating Radbolt generators. They were up to 400C by the time we did that, but who cares? And down here we are now topping up the science terminals. In fact, we might bring back our dupe that's doing the whatchamacallit, data analysis science. Yeah, we'll do that quite shortly. We should have a lot of that in progress. Where is it? Where are you? Here you go. 696 units of data banks. Delicious. Just absolutely perfection. Our team has landed on the oil planet. Now, we're going to have to make some drastic changes here. Namely because you'll notice that these solar panels don't regenerate a lot of watts. They've made it so that the top panel gets the most watts, as in the sun from the sunlight coming down. But as you go further and further down, it decreases the lux. As in, these solar panels block some of the sunlight as it gets further and further down. So the top one's getting, 23.67 watts, bottom one's getting 10.44. So this is not generating an awful lot of power, and we've got a very hungry gas pump in here. This gas pump is, it's 240 watts to run this sucker. That's quite a chunk of power, especially considering how little we're getting out of the solar panels here. So what we're quickly going to do is make ourselves some more solar panels. We have the basics of what we're trying to achieve down. What we want to do is land this rocket, though, first. I think, though, that should become clear why we want to land the rocket first. You see, if we're going to be building solar panels near here, we've got to worry about them, well, getting incinerated by the exhaust from this thing. Actually, let's check the radiation. Sometimes when these things used to land, they just give off radiation forever afterwards. No, I think we're good. Alright, then what we do is, well, we just deconstruct some of these. Actually, we'll just swap them for, say, orbital cargo module, build, then cancel. And we'll just deconstruct 3 of these, and then we'll just extend this wire out this direction and build ourselves a whole bunch of power. Now this, full-sized solar panels can go up to about 360 watts, though, depending on the light levels of the planet you're on. And this planet is in pitch darkness because it's the middle of the night, of course. But Our batteries that we bring with us should keep us going until we get up to solar panels wherever we go, and we actually bring enough glass with us to put down plenty of solar panels. We're going to throw down another 3 after this, and we also brought enough. What the hell just happened there? Oh, I'm an idiot. That's what happened there. Station-wise, if we were to say put a atmosuit checkpoint, that would be a smart idea. Jesus, I'm an idiot. Should have done that in space. I did that for the other team, but not for them. Oh well, that should give us plenty more power. 130 watts from there, 130 from there. Oh, we're going to need more. The problem is, if you look here, this gas pump is active a lot. Just an awful lot. We're also going to get some wrong element damage because I forgot to turn on the toilet at the start, of course, because I'm an idiot. But I think we'll be good. We'll put up 3 more solar panels, and I think that'll cover all of our power needs. And that is how we're going to colonize. With all of these solar panels working right now, they're not doing too well because it's, early in the morning, but they're still filling up all of our batteries during the day, meaning during the night we're still good. This keeps this powers all of our gas pumps, which also keeps all of our atmosuit docks running. And this is all the real power draw we've got inside the capsules is the gas pumps and the occasional draw when the atmosuits get dropped off in the docks. So we've got 2 of those up and running. Now, I did put doors on here. This is going to seem weird, but the problem you have is, well, you've got 2 separate capsules and you've got 2 separate atmosuit docks. So what happens is the duplicants come in, drop off their atmosuits, but then sometimes other duplicants from the other capsule come in and decide, hey, I want to use your bathroom. I'm not going to use mine. I'm going to use yours. So they come in here and start messing about in the place. And then you end up with atmosuits on the floor, no atmosuits in the docks. Everything gets all sorts of confusing. So all I've done is limited these so that only the crew of this particular capsule can get in these doors. Everyone else can exit, though. And the same on the opposite side where, they can exit, but they can't enter except for the requested crew. That means they can only get into their capsules. And we've stuck in an exosuit forge right here, and it's basically anytime we set it to worn atmosuits forever. If anyone's atmosuit gets worn out, though, someone will bring it here and repair it, and everyone's got a few spare suits in their ships just in case. So this way they should always have fresh suits ready to go. Though, yeah, I just realized those when they repair the atmosuits, they'll end up on the ground here. We'll have to find some way of getting them back into the ship. You know what? We'll worry about it later. What we're going to do next, demolish the soil biome. We want all the diamond, we want all the iron ore, we want all the lead, and we're just going to take the lot. In fact, there's a whole bunch of more iron ore over here. This is all that iron ore we can turn into steel back home, no problems whatsoever. Oh, there's so much lead everywhere, and there's a whole bunch of steel. There's a whole bunch of iron over here that we can turn into steel. The planet itself is not really worthwhile outside of that. The reason being, if we check it here, we've got 1 cool steam vent we could use to make oxygen, and that's about it. The rest is all, not really that bothered, to be honest. So in general, the only reason we would come back here is for the oil, and we don't really need that as it is. But I am, of course, way over time. And back home here, we're trying to get the Pincha pepper plant and the balm lily up and running, which requires us to heat this whole place up, which is taking a while, but we're getting there. We're also swapping out the atmosphere for chlorine because that's what it takes to run balm lily, which doesn't like the carbon dioxide. But we've got some gas pumps. We're filtering out the carbon dioxide. We'll put the chlorine back in, and hopefully we'll get this place up and running in no time, and we can start mutating those. Because when it comes to mutations, we've almost knocked out that achievement. As you can see here, the only thing left is gas grass, which is on the gassy moo planet. Dash's salt vine, not sure where we get one of those. Pinch of pepper, we're trying to do that. Balm lily, trying to do that. And nosh bread, I think that's on the frozen planet. So once we mutate the 2 plants we've already got there, we only have, 3 to go? Yes, very much so, yes. If you're wondering where we got the radiated sleet wheat from, I think we accidentally got it from either there, over here, or where was that? Oh yeah, or over here. Some of them must have got mutated because I just suddenly got a notification one day, hey, we've got mutated sleet wheat. Turns out I might have been consuming them all already. I hadn't disabled this from allowing mutants. So this one tried to consume our mutant sleet wheat grain. Thankfully, we did get to examine 1 seed up here before it got consumed. So, it all worked out. Anyway, I am going to cut this out here. I hope you enjoyed and good luck.